بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. And let's continue with the last grammar session, the last Nahw, إعراب and Sarf section of this surah, Surah Al-Mulk. So we're going to cover, inshallah, ayah number 28 and 29 and 30, and then we'll do the Sarf of the words that are found in this ayat, and then we shall conclude that chapter, so that next week we finish off with the explanation, and soon enough would be completing this entire surah, like the way we have been doing. Okay. Now, before I even begin talking about the i'rab of this ayah, I want to explain something in English first, because I feel like it's important for me to explain that before we get into it. Now, number one, before I even begin, I want to say what the thing about this verb ra'a, to see, even in English, the word ra'a has two kinds of meanings or two kinds of ways of looking at it. There's the ru'ya basariya, the physical sight, the seeing of something physically. And then there's the seeing of the mind, where you just say to understand or to perceive something or to think something. This would be a different kind of seeing, right? For example, if I said I saw a cow, so I opened the window or I went outside and I physically saw a cow. That is a physical sight. Using your eyes, you saw the image of a cow, and that was a physical thing that you saw, right? So that's one kind of seeing. But if you were explaining something to me, for example, and I say, I see. When I say, I see, did I actually see the explanation physically? No. What I mean is I understood. Yeah. So that's another kind of seeing. Seeing meaning I understood. The other kind of seeing, which is also in the same world of understanding and thinking and perceiving, is if I said أرى أن العلم نورا, or in this case أن العلم نور, right? Or أرى العلم نورا. Maybe I should just write this so that you can appreciate what I'm trying to say here. أرى العلم نورا. When I say this sentence, I see knowledge as light, or I see knowledge to be light. I see knowledge as if it were light, right? In this case, am I actually physically seeing knowledge? Of course not. You cannot see knowledge. It's impossible to see knowledge. But when I say this sentence, what I mean is that I find knowledge to be light, or I perceive knowledge, I think knowledge. So it's kind of like the thinking of the mind, if you will, the seeing of the mind, and not the physical sight of the eyes. So there are two kinds of understanding when it comes to ara. Now, of course, grammarians accept that this ara here is not the physical sight, but the sight of the mind. So that's one thing I need you to understand, that the seeing here is not physical sight, but it is the seeing of the mind. That's point number one. Now, once you identify that it is the seeing of the mind, then you have two maf'ul bihis, just like in this example I've given you. So al-ilma is maf'ul bihi number one, nuran is maf'ul bihi number two. Okay? So whenever you have the seeing of the mind, we expect two maf'ul bihis. That's the default. That's one thing I need you to understand. So in other words, in this sentence, we are going to try and find the two maf'ul bihis of ra'a. Okay, have that at the back of your mind. Now that that's been explained, I'm going to type a couple of sentences here in English, and we're going to try and understand something in English here. So if I said, consider A, and then consider A if B happens, then we have consider B Consider if B happens, right? So let's start with the first one. If I say consider, now I'm using the word, the meaning consider for ra'a. Like we've already explained, ra'a could mean consider, perceive, think, see. So consider, right? Consider, ra'aytum. So if I said consider A, and maybe A is an entire sentence, what grammarians would do in this case, they would say, okay, fine, consider is my ra'a version. And since I'm supposed to be looking for the two maf'ul bihis of consider, what we're going to say is we're going to say that this A has replaced this entire sentence A. I want you to imagine that A is an entire sentence, okay? And B is also an entire sentence. So consider this sentence A. This A has replaced the two maf'ul bihis of consider. So this entire sentence, we expected it to have two maf'ul bihis right next to it. But since we have this entire sentence, then this entire sentence has taken the place of the two maf'ul bihis that we expected. So that's possibility number one. Okay, so you can have the fi'l ra'a, and then it's followed by an entire sentence, and that entire sentence we would say, okay, this entire sentence saddat masadda maf'ulay ra'a. Okay, saddat masadda maf'ulay ra'a. It has taken the place, it has occupied the place of the two maf'ul bihis that we expected ra'a to have. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is this second sentence I've written here. Consider A if B happens. So you have two sentences. And we will say that sentence A is في محل نسب مفعول به number one. And we would say that this sentence B or B happening, this whole thing that follows, it will also be في محل نسب مفعول به number two. So now here we are considering two parts of the same sentence. Two parts. The sentence has two parts. The first part is going to be مفعول به number one. And then the second part is going to be مفعول به number two. Okay? Or maybe I should just give you examples of what I'm saying instead of saying A and B. Okay? So consider A. Let's see. Consider knowledge if Quran is not there. Consider knowledge. Consider the idea of knowledge if the Quran is not there. Like consider this whole phenomena. So you see this entire sentence, I can say this entire sentence is replacing the two maf'ul bihis of ra'a. Maf'ul bihi number one, maf'ul bihi number two, and I will end that discussion. Now let's say we're looking at the second scenario. So we have consider the same sentence, knowledge if Quran is not there. What I'm saying in the possibility number two is I'm saying knowledge here is maf'ul bihi number one, and then if Quran is not there is maf'ul bihi number two. Maybe I should just underline it, right? So this is maf'ul bihi number one, maf'ul bihi number two. Consider A if B happens. That's possibility number two. And then possibility number three is this. A is not mentioned. So you see possibility number three, we don't have A in the sentence. We just have B. So I remove A. Okay. Consider if Quran is not there. Now here's the question. Whenever you have a jumla shartiya, if, what do we expect? We expect a jawab. So if I said, forget consider for a moment and just look at the jumla shartiya. If Quran is not there, then what? Then we expect something, because if has to have a then. If this, then this. So sometimes the then part, the jawab shart, is mahdoof, is omitted because it is understood, or because it is implied, or because there's a dalil, there's an indication somewhere that indicates to it. Okay, so this can happen, right? So consider if Quran is not there, then what would knowledge look like? Or what would knowledge be? Or how, or what would be knowledge? What would be considered knowledge, right? So those are the different possibilities in which you can look at it. Now, in this case, in this second case, consider if Quran is not there, then what would knowledge look like? This is starting to look like the A version of the sentence. See, consider knowledge if Quran is not there. So you can see here that here we have maf'ul bihi number 2 being mentioned, but maf'ul bihi number 1 is understood. Right? Maf'ul bihi number 1 is understood from what has been mentioned or from the context. Okay? So far so good. Are we clear? Do we understand what is happening? Did we understand what I just said? Are there any questions before I get into the ayah?
No, please
Okay.
repeat.
Okay, repeat the whole thing or from where?
Yeah, just repeat.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. I will repeat it. But maybe I want to create a new page here so that I could have somewhere else to write it. Okay. So here's what I'm saying. Okay. So did you understand the two meanings of ra'a? Ra'a, you can see something physically or you can see something with your mind. Is that clear so far? Do we understand the different meanings of ra'a?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fine. Now, I'm translating ra'a as consider. Okay? I'm translating it as consider. Or should I translate it as... I don't know if I translate it as seeing it, you'll get confused or not. But let's just go with consider for now. If it's not clear, then I will literally translate it and see if that works. Okay. So possibility number 1, this is what I'm saying, possibility number 1 here, is if I just said, okay. I don't want to deal with orientation right now. Okay. If I just said, consider da 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 da. So replace da 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 with an entire sentence and replace that entire sentence with something with just a so that you can understand. Okay. So this possibility, consider dash. I'm giving you an example here. Consider what are you going to consider? This entire thing. And this entire thing is what I'm calling A, possibility A. Okay. So this entire thing is a sentence, as you can see. Right? Is a sentence. So one way of doing the i'rab of this ayah is to say, okay, because this entire sentence answers the question, what? Consider what? Consider this. Okay, consider this entire sentence. So this entire sentence would be what grammarians would say, saddat masadda maf'ulay consider. This sentence is replacing or is taking the place of the two maf'ul bihis of consider. Because consider, as a word, we expect it to have two maf'ul bihis, like I've explained. I perceive knowledge to be light. Knowledge, light, two maf'ul bihis, right? That's what we expect. I consider knowledge to be light. That's what we expect. But here we have an entire sentence. So how do we do the i'rab of this sentence? We would say, okay, possibility number 1 is that this entire sentence is just taking the place, has replaced the two maf'ul bihis. We expected two maf'ul bihis, but now instead we have a sentence. Okay, so that's possibility number 1. I think that's a clear one. Is that clear? Before I go on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have possibility number 2. Possibility number 2 is if I say consider something, if something else happens. Consider the situation if this occurs. Consider the outcome if this happens. Yeah? And the example I gave you, same example. Consider, what are you going to consider? You're going to consider what knowledge would be like. You're going to consider the situation of knowledge if something else happens. If something else happens. So now possibility number 2 is to say, okay, we expect 2 maf'ul bihis. Instead of taking the entire sentence and say this entire sentence has replaced the 2 maf'ul bihis and be done with the story, we say, okay, pause. No, we're going to break this down because it looks like two parts of the same sentence. There's possibility number 1, and then there's part number 1 and part number 2. So we're going to say that this part number 1 is going to be في محل نسب مفعول به number 1, and then part number 2 is going to be مفعول به في محل نسب مفعول به number 2. Okay, so consider knowledge to be light. Knowledge will still be my مفعول به number 1. To be light would be my maf'ul bihi number 2. Whether I replace knowledge with an entire sentence or to be light with an entire sentence, it doesn't matter. These are the 2 maf'ul bihis fi mahalli nasab. So that's possibility number 2. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we come to possibility number 3. Possibility number 3 is I omit knowledge. I omit the maf'ul bihi number 1 in a sense, right? And I just say, consider if B happens. So here I just want you to consider the possibility. Of course, what am I looking for when I say consider if this happens? I'm looking for an outcome. If A happens, B is the outcome, right? Or if this happens, this is the outcome that I'm expecting, right? So in this particular, now we're taking it a step further and we're saying, consider if the Quran is not there. Now, what will happen to you? What would the word look like? Now it's more broad, obviously, because now possibilities are more in terms of the answer, in terms of the jawab of this shart. But the idea is still the same. The idea is that this F part, this B part, is my maf'ul bihi number 2. Because remember, what did I omit? Maf'ul bihi number 1. Okay? Maf'ul bihi number 1 was omitted. But how do I know what this maf'ul bihi number 1 is? I look at the jawab of shart. This jawab of shart is going to give me an idea of what maf'ul bihi number 1 is. So in other words, you can see here, what would knowledge look like? It's as if I said, consider what knowledge would look like if the Quran is not there. Do you see how that works? And now this one gives me the idea. It indicates to me the idea of what maf'ul bihi number 1 was that I omitted. So the jawab of shart indicates to me what the maf'ul bihi number 1 is. Is that clear? I know this last one is a tricky one, but I hope there was some idea. Shabana, is it any clear, or do you need me to repeat again? Because I don't mind. I will repeat it again until it's clear.
Yeah, it's getting there. I
Okay.
feel like the third one is like
Yeah.
more vague, because the
Yes.
maf'ul bihi number 1 is not there. If it's not there, so then it's more open, because if
Yes.
the Quran is not there, it's like there can be many possibilities, like
Yes.
to think it's not only knowledge, it could be everything, like a
It is.
more bigger, it's because it's vague. It's not like mentioned.
Very true. Very true. But in that case, more likely the jawab is going to be mentioned. So if let's say this is not in brackets and the jawab is actually mentioned, then
Okay.
what would knowledge look like? All right. Now this jawab is actually giving you a hint. In other words, it's as if I said, consider the state of knowledge. Consider the state of knowledge. If Quran is not there, then what would knowledge look like? Is that any clearer? So now this is my maf'ul bihi number 1. This whole entire sentence, the jumla shartiya, the shart and the jawab, the entire thing is also my maf'ul bihi number 2. Is that clear?
Okay.
Now, when you look at this sentence, doesn't it feel like it's repetition? Like I've already said, the state of knowledge, and then what would knowledge look like? It's the same thing. State of knowledge, or how would knowledge look like? Even if, let me make it even more specific. How would knowledge look like? How would knowledge look like? مفعول به number one. If Quran is not there, then what would knowledge look like? مفعول به number two. Doesn't it feel like repetition?
Yes.
It does. So the Quran does not repeat things unnecessarily. This feels like it's an unnecessary repetition. Why would you say this? So in order to become more eloquent in your speech, you're going to omit one thing. Either you would omit this maf'ul bihi. So either you're going to omit this maf'ul bihi number one. And how would you know this maf'ul bihi? Because the jawab is going to tell you. The jawab is going to indicate this is what has actually been meant. That's possibility number one. Possibility number one is you maintain that and then you omit the jawab. Okay? You omit the jawab. How would knowledge look like if the Quran is not there? Understood. Possibility number two, if the Quran is not there, then how would knowledge look like? It's the same sentence. You're just avoiding repeating the same thing in order to be more precise and in order to be more eloquent. Okay? So now in our case here today, there's so many possibilities in this ayah, and that's why I needed to explain to you this concept so that you understand this concept before we get into the ayah. Some grammarians have said in the ayah that we're going to be looking at, maf'ul bihi number one is omitted, but the jawab tells you what it is. And then some of them have not even taken this possibility. Some of them have said it's omitted, and also the possibility is like this is omitted, and then this is also omitted, which now feels like a bit of a stretch because how do you know which is like what is being said? But we're not going to go into that idea. We're just going to focus on the idea that maf'ul bihi number one is omitted, yes, but the jawab is telling you what maf'ul bihi number one was. We're going to look at this example number three. This is what is going to guide us. So remember possibility number one and possibility number three, right? Actually, also possibility number two. This is how we're going to look at the ayah today, inshallah. So these three different possibilities, inshallah. But hopefully when we get to the ayah, it will become clear. Okay. So now let me break down the ayah. Or if somebody wants to participate, also feel free, let me know, and then we can do it together. No worries. Okay. So we have قل. قل is فعل أمر. And of course the ضمير is أنت. أنت قل. And of course here the Prophet ﷺ is being addressed. Like we mentioned in the explanation session, from this ayat forward, I think from ayah number 27 onwards, the Prophet, or maybe even before that, the Prophet is the one addressing the mushrikun, the kuffar of Mecca. Allah has stopped addressing them. I think we mentioned a little bit about that. If not, we're still going to mention it next week, inshallah. So now it's the Prophet ﷺ who is being told to tell them. Like Allah doesn't want to talk to them anymore. Subhanallah. Ar-Rahman, the merciful one, is turning away from them. And the Prophet ﷺ is the one being told, you go talk to them. Okay. قل فعل أمر فاعل أنت. أرأيتم. So أرأيتم فعل ماضي. And the فاعل is أنتم. Okay. And now we've said رأى, this رأى. And of course, this is a question word. Maybe I forgot to mention this. Hamza is Hamzatul Istifham, is a question. So this is a question, all right? We expect this to be framed in a question. And then you have ra'a, which is the fi'al madi, and this is the antum version, ara'aytum. Do you see, or have you seen, right? Have you seen? We're going to try and translate it like that so that we stick to the original, but do you see is also valid. Okay. Now, like I said, ra'a takes on two maf'ul bihis. So we expect two maf'ul bihis. So the first possibility is that this entire sentence, all the way to the end, is going to be the sentence is saddat masadda maf'ulay ra'a. It has replaced the two maf'ul bihis of ra'a. And I just stop at that. Okay, and I stop looking for the two maf'ul bihis. Where does it begin? Where does it end? End of discussion. This entire sentence is the two maf'ul bihis of ra'a. So I'll just say, okay, this is maf'ul bihi number one, maf'ul bihi number two. Khalas, end of story. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two is that in ahlakani Allah wa man ma'iya aw rahimana, up to there. Okay, if Allah, so that's possibility number one. This is maf'ul bihi number one. Sorry. Yeah. No, wait. I am getting confused a little because this thing, to be honest, it takes a lot of yes. Okay. So now possibility number two is that if this entire sentence all the way to the end is maf'ul bihi number two and the maf'ul bihi number one is hidden, it's mahdhuf. How are we going to know this maf'ul bihi number two? We're going to look at the jawab al-shart. The jawab al-shart. And this jawab al-shart is going to give us maf'ul bihi number two. So that's possibility. That's the second possibility that we're going to look at. Okay? Now,
So
let me break it
like
down.
sorry.
Go ahead.
So the first part could be what would happen to you all if, like that?
Yes. Or not really what would happen, but would you be saved? So look at the jawab. What is the jawab? Man yujiru al-kafirina min adhabin alim. Who is going to save the disbelievers from the painful punishment? So in other words, the first part would be, do you see yourself saved from the painful punishment if the Prophet ﷺ and those with him, they die and Allah saves them? Like, what do you think? Do you think you'll be saved? That's possibility number one. Some other grammarians have said that the maf'ul bihi that is mahduf is actually, what benefit would you get? What benefit would you get if the Prophet dies? Like, how is that going to benefit you? Or if the Prophet doesn't die, the Prophet is saved, how's that going to benefit you? You're still a kafir. You see? So that's the other possibility of looking at it. And I'm going to explain all those three possibilities and how they came up to that when we look at the translation. Because I think when I write down to you the translations, it will become clearer, hopefully. Okay, so now let's break down what's happening in this giant maf'ul bihi number one and maf'ul bihi number two, whatever, however we consider it. We have in is shartiya. Okay, so this is a conditional sentence. And of course, ahlakani Allahu, this is the fi'l shart. So this is the conditional part. Ahlaka, fi'l madi, obviously. And this, the dhamir obviously is the inside pronoun, but because we have lafdul jalala, we can see that it's coming after and it's rafa. So our lafdul jalala here is the fa'il. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And then the noon is what we call noon al-wiqaya. Of course, in bayna we don't differentiate this. So the noon is noon al-wiqaya, and then the ya is actually the maf'ul bihi here in this case of ahlaka. Ahlakani, he causes me to die, or he causes me to perish, or he destroys me. So you can see me is maf'ul bihi in this case. Okay, and then we've said al-lafdul jalala is the fa'il in this case. So Allah causes me to perish, or Allah destroys me. Okay, so that's what's happening there. Waman, wa harf ataf. So the Prophet ﷺ is being told to say, if Allah destroys me, wa man ma'iya, and those with me, so man isim mawsul. And of course, the sentence after it is going to be silatil mawsul. And ma'iya, this is darf. Ma'a is a special mudaf. And of course, the ya is mudaf ilayhi. and together they are متعلق to صلة الموصول. So من هم معي. There's a صلة الموصول. You can still consider this معي as صلة الموصول because it's still part of the صلة الموصول, right? Yeah. Or you can say this one is متعلق to the صلة because what is understood is that the صلة is a jumla. Yeah? من هم الذين معي or something like there's a jumla here or من هم معي. Yeah, and that jumla is what we're calling the silatul mawsul to man, and then ma'iyya is muta'alliq to that silatul mawsul. Or if that's so difficult for you to understand, you can just say this ma'iyya, because I have isim mawsul here, this ma'iyya is part of the silatul mawsul. Just put it together. And, I mean, it won't be like 100% correct, but it will be closer, right? Okay. أو حرف عطف. I think we've covered that before. So wa حرف عطف أو also حرف عطف. And of course you can see رحمنا is a verb. So أهلكني الله. أهلك فعل ماضي. رحمة فعل ماضي. So رحمة is معطوف to أهلك. So this رحمة again is a فعل ماضي here. And of course the ضمير again is هو, which goes back to Allah. Allah here. هو رحمنا. Yeah, if Allah causes us to perish, or if He shows us mercy. And then of course the na is مفعول به, like we've seen before. Just like here, أهلكني, here is na, نحن. رحمنا, He shows us mercy. Okay. فمن. So now we said in is شرطية. And you know a conditional sentence has three parts. You have the أداة الشرط, the tool, which is in, the harf. And then you have the condition part, which is this. This is the condition. If Allah were to destroy me and those with me, or He shows us mercy, what happens? You have to have the jawab. فَمَنْ يُجِيرُ الْكَافِرِينَ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. So this fa here, possibility number one, is that this fa is what we call fa الرابطة, fa الجزاء, fa الواقعة في الجواب شرط. You can call it whatever, any one of these names. Or you can just, if it is easier for you to understand, this is fa that happens in the jawab of shart. Just know that. Yeah, just know that. Don't worry about these fancy names, fa al-rabita, fa al-jaza. You can just know that this fa comes in the jawab of shart. Not any jawab, but jawab shart, right? Because qasam has also a jawab. Nida also has a jawab. So you have to be specific. That is jawab of shart. Okay. So this fa is connecting to the jawab. So if Allah destroyed me and those with me, or He shows us mercy, then what? Then who is going to rescue the disbelievers from the painful punishment? Right? So that's what's happening there. Man. Now this man is isim istifham, and it's an isim, and it's occurring in the beginning. So because it's an isim and it's occurring in the beginning of the sentence, we're going to say that this is our mubtada. Right? Man isim istifham. This is not man mawsula. This is man. So we saw here man mawsula, but this other man is man istifham. It's a question word. Who is going to? So I'm asking, there's a question being asked here. So this is going to be our mubtada, which means this sentence that comes after is going to be my khabar. Okay, where's the khabar? There. So that sentence is going to be my khabar. And then I look inside this khabar, I have yujirul kafirina. Yujiru, ajara yujiru. So this is fi'al mudari'. And of course, the fa'il is huwa, which goes back to again man. Man, the pronoun inside man is huwa. Yujiru, the inside pronoun is huwa. Okay. Man yujirul kafirina. Al kafirina. It's not kafiruna, it's kafirina. It has a ya. So this means either it's mansub or it's majroor. But in this case, because we have a fi'al, this is going to be mansub. That means that this is my maf'ul bihi. Because we expect with a fi'al, we expect a maf'ul bihi. So who's going to rescue, or who's going to protect the disbelievers? So al-kafirina is my maf'ul bihi, and of course, it's the alama, the sign is ya. Min, harf jar. So this is jarrun, harf jar. Maybe I have space, I can just write it. So this is harf jarrin. And then, of course, عذاب is اسم مجرور. And together, they are متعلقان. بماذا؟ بيجير, which is the فعل. بيجير, which is my فعل. So if you want to say متعلق بالفعل, that's fine. Okay, and then you have عذاب أليم. You can see the 4 properties match. So this is موصوف صفة. This is صفة عذاب. Okay. I said this is possibility number 1. Possibility number 2, and this is where grammarians just do a lot of gymnastics, to be honest. I feel like this would have been sufficient. This would have just been okay and we move on. But then somebody somewhere had to say, you know what, this fa, about this fa, we can also make it fa التعليل. And if we make it fa التعليل, then this sentence is jumla ta'liliya. Of course, the rest of the i'rab inside the sentence remains the same. You don't have to, this one doesn't change. What changes is this jumla, if we're making it a reason, because ta'lil means a reason, yeah? You're giving a reason. It's a reason for what? The reason for what? So they said this is a reason because now the jawab is of shart. If we remove this as jawab shart, then we are missing a jawab of shart, right? We are missing a jawab of shart. So they said, okay, the jawab of shart is mahdoof, and this jumla is the reason for the jawab of shart that is mahdoof. It's a lot of gymnastics, to be honest, but I'm going to write the translation now so that you can appreciate what every grammarian is saying in terms of translation, okay? I know right now it's not making much sense, and you're like, what is going on? So let me write it down. Possibility number 1. Change the language to English. Okay, possibility number 1. This is the easiest. This is the easiest. Say what? Have you considered? Considered what? The entire sentence is going to be replacing the two maf'ul bihis. Alhamdulillah. Is going to be replacing the two maf'ul bihis of consider. Okay. Have you considered, or maybe here I should, so that you can appreciate it more, because I want this to be very clear, because 2 ayats, 29 and 30, follow this pattern. So if you understand 28, you will understand 30. Okay, say, have you considered if I want to look at the ayah. If Allah were to destroy me and those with me, then who will protect the disbelievers from a painful punishment? Okay, this is the straightforward one. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Do we understand this one so far? What is happening? Yeah? Is there any questions regarding this one? Sorry, say again.
This is clear. Yeah.
This is clear. Okay, yeah. This one doesn't have any complications. It's just simple. Say, and then the whole thing is maqul al-qawl, and then inside the maqul al-qawl, I think I forgot to mention that. So this whole thing is maqul al-qawl. And then inside that maqul al-qawl, you have now some complications happening. You have the ra'a, which we expected to have two maf'ul bihis, and this entire sentence is the two maf'ul bihis. Okay? We're done with that. So now we come to possibility number 2. Say, what are we saying? Have you considered, again, the same thing, considered. Now, we have something missing there, which is maf'ul bihi number 1, right? If Allah I should just copy this. It's the same thing. Right? So have you considered something? If Allah were to destroy me and those with me, then who will protect? This is actually a question, not a question mark. Who would protect me from the painful punishment? Or protect the disbeliever, sorry, from a painful punishment. So now the question then becomes, what is this thing that is mahdhuf here? What is my maf'ul bihi number one? I look at the jawab and I say, oh, so here maybe what was supposed to be said was, or rather what we expected to be said was, have you considered who will protect you or protect, you, the disbelievers, from a painful punishment? If Allah were to destroy me and those with me, then who will protect the disbelievers from a painful punishment? So now, instead of saying it here, it's not mentioned, and then the jawab of shart sort of gives me an indication of what is happening. Okay? So that's possibility number 2. Is that clear? Any questions? It's only going to get more confusing from here. So if you have something to say now before I go to possibility number 3, which is going to be crazy. Okay. It's clear. Okay. Yeah, I knew when you see the translation, it might be a bit more clear. Okay, say. I'm just gonna copy it and then I'm gonna edit it. Possibility number 3. Possibility number 3. Have you considered, okay, have you considered what benefit or have you considered how it will be, okay, let's replace it. How it will benefit you, right? Have you considered how it will benefit you if Allah were to destroy me and those with me? Okay, I'm going to change this because we're saying now that this fa is no longer fa al-rabita, it's not jawab shart. Now this is because. I'm going to change it to because. But before I continue, I noticed that there's something missing here because I have a jumla shartiya. Where's my jawab? I need my jawab. So now they say, okay, the jawab is more or less the same thing as what was mentioned. How will it benefit you? Okay, so we have something like that. Now, have you considered how will it benefit you, maf'ul bihi number 1? If Allah were to destroy me and those with me, how will it benefit you, maf'ul bihi number 2? Because who will protect the disbelievers from a painful punishment? Okay? Do you see what is happening? So now, maf'ul bihi number 1 was not mentioned. How do I know maf'ul bihi number 1? I look at the jawab of shart, which was also not mentioned. Right? And then I say that this fa is fa at-ta'lil and it's giving the reason of why it will not benefit you. It will not benefit you because you have no one to protect you. Because who is going to protect you? No one. Okay? Yeah, a lot of grammar happening there, or a lot of gymnastics, to be honest. But is that clear what is being said, or how they came up with all this gymnastics? So how will it benefit you? Maf'ul bihi number 1. If all the way up to the end, maf'ul bihi number 2. But maf'ul bihi number 2 is a jumla shartiya and the jawab is also mahdhuf. And the jawab is what's supposed to tell us maf'ul bihi number 1. Okay? And then because this is honestly my least favorite. So we will go with the first one and the second one. you will find that most translations would just go for this one. It's the easiest, most straightforward, no complications. And then I also like this second one because the second one, there's a dalil. The dalil is in the jawab. You can see the jawab is mentioned. And so this one, tells you exactly what you expected in maf'ul bihi number one. Makes sense, fine. But then this other one, honestly, I was like, but why? Why? Anyway, I it is what it is.
Thinking too much.
Exactly. It's overthinking. Yeah. So we're gonna go with number one and number two. Those are safer options. Let's not. So in ayah number 30, we will just use number one and number two. Yeah, and not really go through so much information there. Okay. Then we have ayah number 29. Again, we have qul. So we've already done this. Fi'al amr. Whatever comes after it is going to be maqul al-qawl. Fi'al amr. And then, of course, this is anta. And the sentence after it is maqul al-qawl. I have space, I can write. مقول القول مفعول به of قل. And inside that مفعول به we have a جملة اسمية starting with هو. So straight away this is my مبتدأ. I'm just gonna go right and write it, my مبتدأ. And then we have الرحمن, one of the names of Allah, الرحمن, that this surah features so much. So that's going to be my خبر. Okay. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. That's a very simple جملة اسمية. And then we have آمنا به. Now this is a فعل. Okay. جملة فعلية. آمنا به جملة فعلية. But what do I have here? I have معرفة followed by a sentence. You know how we normally say nakira followed by a sentence is going to be صفة? When you have معرفة followed by a sentence, this is going to be حال. So those are some of the cheat codes that, or like tips that you can always have. Nakira followed by a jumla is going to be sifa. Ma'rifa followed by a jumla is going to be hal. Okay. So if the al was not here, we would say this sentence is a sifa. Because the al is here, we're going to say that this entire sentence is my hal. And of course, inside that hal, we have a jumla fi'liya, and the fi'l is آمنا. This is فعل ماضي, and the فاعل is نحن. نحن آمنا. Okay. And then we have به. به آمنا is متعلق, it's متعدي بحرف. Because it's متعدي بحرف, you can just say that this به is جار مجرور مفعول به في محل نسب of آمنا. Okay. So this is في محل نسب مفعول به. Is that clear so far? So this whole thing is a hal. Okay. Then we have وعليه توكلنا. واو حرف عطف. So آمنا توكلنا. So this is a sentence. عليه توكلنا is a جملة فعلية, another جملة فعلية. So we are connecting this جملة فعلية آمنا به وعليه توكلنا. We are connecting together. One thing you noticed, when we say آمنا به, the متعلق جار مجرور came after. But when we're saying توكلنا, the jar majroor came before. This is going to be very important in the explanation. Because why did we flip the order when it came to tawakkul? When it came to iman, straightforward. When it came to tawakkul, there's taqdeem and ta'khir happening. So that's an important thing to mention. Okay, so واو حرف عطف عليه جار مجرور متعلقان. على متعلقان بالتوكلنا أو متعلقان بذس فعل, right? And of course توكلنا فعل ماضي, and the فاعل is نحن. Actually, we can also here say that it is مفعول به. This, we can say that this is because توكل عليه. توكل is متعدي بعلى. It is also متعدي بحرف just like آمن. So this one can be في محل نصب مفعول به. Just like we did here. Okay. So it doesn't take a direct مفعول به. Instead, you have a jar مجرور. So we don't say آمنا به, we believe him directly. So we said we believe in him. So there's a jar مجرور. توكلنا, we trust. You can say trust him in English, but in Arabic, عليه توكلنا, we trust in him. Right? So that's why I'm saying that this is a مفعول به في محل نصب, because it's متعدي بحرف. It takes a مفعول به with a harf on it. That's what that means. Okay. Questions? Are we good? Before we finish this?
Ustazah,
Mhm.
bihi and وعليه, bihi should be in him, right?
Yes.
And for tawakkalna, tawakkal, alayhi means upon Allah
Yes.
we
Rely.
trust.
Normally you see that translation, upon Allah we rely. Yeah,
Upon
so
Allah we
they
rely.
would translate tawakkala as reliance. But of course, if you to use the word trust, you don't say upon him we trust. I mean, maybe you can, I don't know. But normally trust comes with in English. Trust in him or trust him directly. So that's why I translated like that, because I'm using English. But of course, you can use reliance. You can use we rely upon him if you want to be very true to the word alayhi. Yeah.
All right. Jazakillah khair.
Now, we have this fa, okay? So, قُلْ هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ آمَنَّا بِهِ وَعَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْنَا. Say, he is ar-Rahman, we believe in him, and upon him we rely. فَسَتَعْلَمُونَ. What is this fa? This fa is what we call fa fasiha. And I'm going to explain. Fa fasiha. Yeah. And what that means is that fa fasiha comes when there's a hidden sentence here. There's a sentence that was supposed to be said, but it wasn't said. What is this sentence that we expected to be said? In عرفتم ذلك, or إذا فهمتم, if you understood that, if you understand that, then this is the case. Right? Or if you knew that that we believe in Allah, and if you knew that we rely only on Allah, then you will know soon who is exactly misguided. Like, you're going to understand you call us misguided, but if you understand how much, or if you appreciate how much we believe in Allah and how much we rely upon Allah, then you're going to see who is misguided. It's not us, it's you. Right? So that's the idea. So there's a jumla here that is understood that is missing. And what is that sentence? If you understand this, then what? Then you would know who is truly misguided. Okay? Is that clear what's happening in that ayah? So this fa is indicating to you that there's a jumla shartiya. So we know that a jumla shartiya comes with a jawabu shart. So this fa is actually the fa that comes with jawab. But its shart, the condition part, is actually mahduf, it's missing. And we understand from the context. Yeah, the context is what would tell you what is being said. Then we have ستعلمون, seen للاستقبال. So this scene just shows you that this is, it will happen in future. Okay, so you have seen, and then you have also سوف. So these are the ways we express the future tense in Arabic. تعلمون مضارع. Yes, go ahead. Question? Okay. تعلمون, and the فاعل is أنتم. تعلمون من هو في ضلال مبين. علم يعلم Again, just like ra'a, yara, there are two meanings or two ways of looking at this verb. I can either know something, like when you no, actually this one, just one way of looking at it. When you know something, this is not something that you can physically know. Okay, so this is something that's happening in your mind. So again, just like ra'a, it takes two maf'ul bihis. So when we have alima, especially when it has the meaning of thinking, not just knowing, but thinking or perceiving or understanding. Yeah, the meanings to do with your mind. When it comes with that meaning, then it takes on two maf'ul bihis. So just like ra'a, we expect whatever comes after it is going to be the two maf'ul bihis of alima. So this one they kept it easy and simple and said this entire sentence, it replaced the two maf'ul bihis of alima. Simple, easy peasy, straightforward, no gymnastics. We love it. Okay, so this sentence is going to be the maf'ul bihis of alima. Maf'ul bihi number 1 and 2. And inside that maf'ul bihi, we have an entire sentence. Man huwa fi dhalalin mubin. Man اسم موصول. Okay. And then we have huwa, this is the silatul mawsul. And then inside the sila, of course, huwa is also mubtada. So huwa is my mubtada. في ظلال مبين. في حرف جر. ظلال اسم مجرور. ظلال, you can see it matches with مبين. So this is my صفة to ظلال. And of course, together this jar مجرور is going to be متعلق to a خبر that is محذوف. Okay. هو موجود في ضلال مبين. Who is present in clear misguidance. Right? Something like that. But we don't need to say it. So who is in clear error, clear misguidance or clear error. Okay. So في ظلال would be متعلقان بالخبر, because here the space is not enough. And like we've said, مبين is going to be صفة. Okay. Clear? Questions?
Sister Ilham,
Yes.
the kalimah fasata'lamuna, is it can be broken into how many kalimah? Because the root word should be alama, right?
Yes.
I'm wondering what is the function of sin ta that comes after fa. Sata.
Okay. So this فَسَتَعْلَمُونَ, this whole word, it can be broken. Where is it? It can be broken down into 3. Oh, I did that. Okay. Okay, so it can be broken down into 3. You have the fa, which I've explained. This fa is fa fasiha. So it is sort of explaining to you that there's a sentence that is sort of omitted. That's the purpose of this fa. And then you have seen. This seen is used to mention something will happen in the future. So sata'ti, you will come. I don't say mudara, you are coming. If I say ta'ti, you are coming. But I want to say you will come in the future. Sata'ti, you will come. Let's go to alima. Sata'lamu anta, sata'lamu. You will know in the future. But if I just want to say you are knowing, I'll say ta'lamu. You know, ta'lamu, you know now. But in the future, sata'lamu, you will know. Okay, that's you singular. But how about you plural, all of you? How do I do that? I say ta'lamuna, antum ta'lamuna. So you see, this is antum. All of you, ta'lamuna. You all know right now. But what about in future? Antum sata'lamuna. All of you, you will know in the future. So that's kind of what is happening in that structure. So this ta at the beginning and una at the end is indicative of antum. Okay? Okay. So that's what's happening there. I am leaving the translation because I think we can look at the translation later if we have time, because we kind of have quite, I want us to finish this, everything today. We have to get to the Sarf and finish today, because there's no point in having another session only to do a few words. Okay. Now, ayah number 30, similar problem we had in ayah number 28. Okay. But hopefully it's going to be much easier now that we have covered ayah number 28. So let's see. So قل, again, we've done this several times. قل فعل أمر. There's the أمر. And of course, whatever comes after it is going to be the مفعول به مقول القول. Okay. Then you have أرأيتم. حرف استفهام. So this is a question word, or so means that this entire sentence is a question. رأيتم, we've done this, فعل ماضي. And of course the فاعل is أنتم. Okay, أنتم. And then now we've said this entire sentence, we're going to go with possibility number 1. This entire sentence is going to be my مفعول به. My مفعول به number 1. What's happening? مفعول به number 1 and 2. This whole sentence. Make my life easier. So we're just going to say that. What is happening here? Okay. So now we enter into the مفعول به number 1 and number 2 of رأيتم. And then I have إن أصبح ماؤكم غورا فمن يأتيكم بماء معين. I have a جملة شرطية starting with in, just like we had before. So this in, we're going to say شرطية, no problem. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Whatever follows it is going to be my فعل شرط. Okay. أصبح فعل شرط. And أصبح is actually فعل ماضي. Okay. And of course it's the هو version. هو أصبح, like أسلم family. Right? So, but then when we go ahead and look, we see ماء. ماء. This is رفع. So that means that this ماء is actually my فاعل. Okay, so I found an outside doer. And then the kum, the attached pronoun kaf here, is actually مفعول به. Sorry, مضاف إليه. Running out of space. So this is my مضاف إليه. ماءكم. Right? مضاف مضاف إليه. And of course together they are my فاعل. أصبح. أصبح is one of the sisters of كان. Of course here, when we're doing the explanation, we will look at the 2 different meanings of أصبح in this case. أصبح could be in the meaning of كان يكون, like from the sisters of كان, or it could not be from the sisters of كان. Okay, we shall talk about that. So أصبح, if it's from the sisters of كان here, so we'll say أصبح فعل ناقص, right? And we know that Kana and her sisters, they make the isim rafa, and then this becomes the isim, and then the khabar becomes mansub. So غورا here, we shall say that this is khabar Kana. So غورا is the khabar of Kana, right? And of course, if أصبح is not a فعل ناقص, then غورا would be حال. It would be حال in that case. Not khabar, but حال. Right. Then we have fa. Fa لجواب الشرط. Fa جواب الشرط. So this one fa, we're going to say fa رابطة, just like we did before, because this is the beginning of our جواب of شرط. من يأتيكم بماء معين. This من is اسم استفهام. Again, just like we did before. اسم استفهام. So in this jawab, we have man, which is a question word. And because it's coming at the beginning of a sentence, so we're going to say that this is our mubtada. Okay? So man, mubtada. And then يأتيكم, or يأتيكم actually, not يأتيكم, khabar. And inside that khabar, what do we have? يأتيكم بماء معين. This is a jumla فعلية. يأتي مضارع. just like we did before. And then the kaf here in this case is a maf'ul bihi. Why? Because it is attached to a fi'l. So whenever you have a pronoun attached to a fi'l, this is going to be maf'ul bihi. Whenever you have a pronoun attached to an ism, it's going to be mudaf ilayhi. One of the very simple rules to memorize and always remember. Okay, don't confuse between the two. So يأتيكم مضارع بكاف مفعول به. Who will give you? It answers the question who. So you. بماء معين. أتى يأتي, again it's متعدي بحرف. So أتى means to come. I came. أتيت. أنا أتيت. I came. It's lazim. The action of coming happened on me, right? But how do I say I brought something? So I have to say أتى بشيء. أتى بشيء. I brought something. So we use the same verb of coming. Instead of saying I came, I caused something to come. That's the literal meaning of أتيت به. I caused it to come, right? But of course, in English, you don't say I caused it to come. I brought it. Yeah, that's what it means. So this بماء again is going to be jar majroor, but because it's متعدي بحرف, it's going to be my مفعول به في محل نسب of أتى. Okay, I hope that's clear. And then we have ماء معين. Okay, so you can see that that's it matches 4 properties. So this is موصوف صفة. And of course, this whole entire thing would be the 2 مفعول بهs of رأى. Okay. So I think the second possibility is a bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the translation based on the 2 possibilities that we've learned before. Okay. So say, I don't know why it is writing like this. Why aren't you going this way? Okay. Say what? Say, have you considered so the possibility is that, have you considered this entire thing being the 2 مفعول به? So if your water were to sink deep, then who will bring you flowing water? Okay, so that's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 is say, have you considered? Have you considered what? مفعول به number 1. مفعول به number 2 is if your water, just copy that thing. Okay. And how do I know what مفعول به number 1 is? By looking at the jawab. By looking at the jawab, who will bring you flowing water? In other words, have you considered who will bring you flowing water if your water were to sink deep? Right? So that's how that goes. Is that clear? Is it getting clearer? We're not going to do possibility number 3 because it's a lot of gymnastics that I find unnecessary, to be honest. Questions? Did I just fry your brains and you're wondering why am I studying Arabic? Don't worry, it's fun. Sometimes you need complications in life, right? It's good. Alhamdulillah that it's clear. Okay. let me know. We're going to do the sarf, and if you guys are still interested, we can look at the translations, but maybe that could be part of your homework. You can just go look at the translations, how they translated it. Did they just go the easy way and they said this entire sentence is a maf'ul bihi, or did they actually try and do the gymnastics where they mentioned maf'ul bihi number one, which I don't think they did. I don't think, they went straight forward and it was easier that way. Because sometimes these translations are made for the masses, so it has to be as simple as possible, right? Okay, so let's do the sarf. Hope you're ready to, let's excite ourselves. Let's get away from Nahw a little bit. Now let's move to sarf and we can finish this surah. Ahlaka, okay? Ahlaka, so we can already see that this is aslama. So this is halaka, okay? Like if you take halaka and you put it in aslama, you have ahlaka. And of course, this is bab number 4, aslama. And sigha, this is ahlaka. We said that this is madi. Okay? Now we're going to do the sarf صغير. So, هو أهلك, sorry, أهلك not. أهلك, what's the kaf? أهلك يهلك, like يسلم. So, يهلك, إهلاك. فهو مهلك. The person who is destroyed, مهلك. Okay? And then, of course, we're saying that this is the fi'al madi. So we're going to do the sarf kabir of the fi'al madi a little bit, not the entire thing, but just the first 3 ones. So ahlaka, and then huma ahlaka, hum ahlaku. But we're talking about the huwa version, so huwa ahlaka. And of course, the ni part, like we talked about, is the maf'ul bihi. And what does it mean? He destroys me, or he causes me to perish. So those are some of the meanings you would find. Rahima. Rahima. This one is straightforward. And it comes from family number 1, Sami'a family. So Rahima yarhamu. Okay. Rahima again, another madi, just like ahlaka. But this is family number 1. So Rahima yarhamu rahmatan fahuwa rahimun. One of the names of well, not really, but just Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, you know, the idea of mercy, names of Allah. Okay, so we're looking at the Madi, Rahima. So huwa Rahima, and then huma Rahima, hum Rahimu. Okay, again, if you want at your own time, you can just try and do the sarf of all these words. It really helps, guys. This is how you hack sarf. You just have to say them. Okay. He shows us. Actually, literally, these are madi, so we should translate them as madi. He destroyed me. He showed us mercy because it's madi. But of course, in the text, it's a possibility. It's not really something that happened. So you say if he does this or if he does, it's an if sentence. So because it's an if sentence, we translate it in the future. But literally, it means past. Rahimana, he showed us mercy. Or he showed us mercy. There's no other way of saying it. Yujiru. Ajara, yujiru. Same family, aslama, yuslimu. So this is, wait. Okay. So this is jawara. Comes from jawara. So this is, we've said aslama family. Yujiru, mudara. Huwa yujiru. So ajara, yujiru, ijara. إجارة, like أقام يقيم إقامة, same type of pattern. So أجار يجير إجارة فهو مجير, like مسلم, but because it's أجوف, مجير. Okay, and we're looking for the مضارع. So يجير, هما يجيران, هم يجيرون. Right, and it means He protects. He protects. And then alimun. So a, la, ma. Those are the jither. And this comes from, again, sami'a family. So alima, alima, ya'lamu, alam. That's the masdar. Alamun. Alam, pain. Alima, to be pained. Or to undergo some pain. To go through some pain. يألم الألم فهو آلم. آلم, that would be the isim fa'il. But أليم, no, what am I writing here? I had to figure out first of all that this is actually sifa mushabbaha. Means that when you're in pain for a long time. Sifa mushabbaha is something that you go through for a really long time, that sometimes it can feel permanent. But when it comes to the names of Allah, of course, these are permanent traits. Right? But for human beings, because we are not permanent, but something that lasts for very long, it can almost feel permanent, right? So that's sifa. So alimun, when you're in pain, the pain it lasts, okay? So that's why this is sifa mushabbaha, and we're gonna call it. So if you're to do it, the sarf of the entire thing, then you'll come to wa ismu sifa. Alimun, like fa'ilun, kareemun, right? That's the pattern. What does it mean? Painful. It's an adjective, it's a description. Painful, but pain that really lasts. So it's not just a short-term pain, it's a long-lasting pain. آمن. أأمن. Okay, and again, this is family 4, أسلم family. This is ماضي. So we have آمن. But notice in the Quran, it's normally written like this. But of course, when we're writing it, we just put the alif mad. So آمن يؤمن إيمان. This is one thing with this family, mahmuz. Whenever you have this family, the masdar, it was supposed to be i'man. But that's so hard to pronounce. Like it sounds like you're having hiccups in the desert, and there's not a lot of water in the desert to cure hiccups. So the Arabs are like, no, we don't need to have hiccups. So we're just gonna say iman, smooth it out. No need for no, iman. Okay. So آمن يؤمن إيمانا فهو مؤمن. But here we are looking for the ماضي version. So آمن هما آمنا هم آمنوا هي آمنت هما آمنتا هن آمنا أنت آمنت. Do it with me. أنتما آمنتما أنتم آمنتم أنت آمنت أنتما آمنتما أنتن آمنتن أنا آمنت نحن آمنا. There it is. So we found it. And this means we believed. We believed. Then we have tawakkala. So wakala, that's the jither. And this is from family number 5, tawakkala. And tawakkala again is the madi. So tawakkala, yatawakkal, yatawakkalu, tawakkul, فهو متوكل. متوكل, not whatever I wrote there. Okay, so and again this is a madi. We're going to do the entire sarf. So tawakkal, tawakkala, tawakkalu, tawakkalat, هي توكلت, هي هما توكلتا, هن توكلن, أنت توكلت, أنتما توكلتما أنتم توكلتم أنت توكلتِ أنتما توكلتما أنتن توكلن أنتن very أنا توكلت توكلتن I was wondering what am توكلتن I was like wait I'm lost أنا توكلت نحن توكلنا and that's the one. Yeah, this one was a long one. And what does it mean? We relied upon. We relied upon or we trust. Okay. Then we have أصبح. So صباح. This is family number 4. Again, ماضي. So أصبح يصبح إصباح فهو مصبح. The person who wakes up in the morning is called a مصبح. So أصبح يصبح إصباح فهو مصبح. أصبح. So أصبح أصبحا أصبحوا. But of course this is the one we're looking for. And it means to become, or it means to happen in the morning. So I told you it can either be فعل ناقص, which means to become, or it cannot, which means to happen in the morning. So it's not فعل جامد, it becomes فعل مشتق, which means to happen in the morning. Okay. Finally, we have ma'in, and this one, it has 2 possibilities. I know these ayat are complicated today. I know I'm really draining your brain juices, but just bear with me. And if you need to rewatch this, you can rewatch it. Just go to the part where you want to refresh yourself. You can refresh your mind. Okay, ma'in. Either possibility number 1, it comes from ma'ana. That's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 is either it comes from ayana. Okay. So those are the 2 possibilities. Now, if it is ma'ana, this is family, this is either sami'a or fataha. Again, more possibilities for you. Where's the fa? There. Sami'a or fataha. We're just going to do sami'a. You can do fataha if you want. And what kind of, if it is from this family, then ma'inun is going to be the sifa. Sifa mushabbaha. Like karimun. Right? So you can see that what is extra is the ya. So karimun, ma'inun. So this is sifa mushabbaha, if that's the case. If it is ayana, then it is isim maf'ul. So it's supposed to be maf'ul. It's supposed to be ma'yun, maf'ul, ma'yun. But that sounds ugly. When we're doing the sarf of this ajwaf, we don't say ma'yun. When it's a ya, we say ma'in. Like mabi', right? Mabi'. We don't say mabi'u'. We say mabi'. You smooth it out, make it smooth. So that's what's happening here. So it could either be from this or from that. And the meanings are also different from each other. And that's why it can be 2 possible meanings there. Both of them have to do with water and stuff. Anyway, so if it is ism sifa, so this is ma'ana or ma'ina yam'anu, ma'ina yam'anu, ma'an, فهو ma'in. Okay, and if it's ism maf'ul, then we have, this is ana, I didn't say the family here, so this is ضرب. ضرب
Ilham, you've
family.
written some anu.
Sorry?
You've written some anu. Okay, this. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Small.
Yeah. So sometimes because my keyboard, I don't know where the letters are. I'm just guessing. So
Oh, really?
that's why.
But you're doing a very good job, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. I make a lot of, I'm still practicing anyway.
Okay.
So, أنا يمعن. Sorry, what am I doing? No. أنا يعين. أنا, again. يعين. عين. فهو عائن. Okay? So that's kind of what we have. And of course, if you're to do the اسم مفعول, here, if you're to do the entire sarf, you would end up with ma'in at some point. Ma'in at some point, which is the isim sifa. So just know that this is the isim sifa, like karimun, jamilun, latifun, so on and so forth. And here, if you were to do the sarf kabir, so aina yu'anu, maybe we can just do it. Aina yu'anu, the passive line. Aina yu'anu, ain fahuwa ma'inun. Supposed to be ma'yunun, but ma'yunun doesn't sound right, sounds ugly. So now we smooth it out and make it ma'inun. So those are the two possibilities. Okay, now we come to the meaning. When it is ma'ina yam'anu or ma'ana yam'anu, this means to irrigate something or to flow, all right? Or to be plenty, to kathura, to become plenty. So one of the meanings actually is plentiful and plentiful in water. Okay, so being plentiful in water. Kathura or rawiya, to be irrigated. Okay, so that's one meaning. But when it is ana, like ain, what is ain? Ain means the eye. So something that you can clearly see with your eye. Something that is apparent with your eye, something that is on top, something that is just visible to you, something that is dahir, something that is apparent. That is what ma'in is. So, and from that meaning of something that is apparent, when it comes to rivers that are ma'in, is something that you can see on top of the land, as opposed to being sunk in the ground. Remember ghawran, to sink deep, but ma'in is the opposite of that, is something that you can visibly see on the earth. So with this meaning, we get the meaning of visible or flowing, right? And yeah, because when you're seeing it, it's visible to you. And of course, together, plentiful and visible kind of gives you the meaning of flowing, right? Because you're seeing it physically flow, and it's also a lot, so it is flowing constantly. So you'd find that most of the translation, they would just translate ma'in as flowing. It kind of captures both meanings. All right, I know I went overboard, but I needed to finish this. So if you guys have any questions, by the way, you feel free to ask, or you can ask in the group. But alhamdulillah, we have wound up this entire surah in terms of Nahw and Sarf. Inshallah, next week we finish the explanation of this entire surah, and then we will be left with one more week just to look at everything, how everything comes together. And yeah, I can't wait for that. No worries, you're most welcome.
How can I join your group, Ustazah?
Which group?
Can you share the link, please?
For this group?
Yes.
Sure.
I'm in the Quran Reflect group, which I joined last night. But for your kuliah today, have to rely on last week's Sister Munira's sharing.
I see. Okay. No worries. Let me just share with you. I'm gonna post the group here in the, because yeah, I was about to ask you, like, how did you find this link then? So it's a bit okay. No worries. Invite, copy link. Okay, so you can join that group and you can invite others. This is a mixed group. You don't have to like, it's not for women only. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so you can invite people to that group as well. This is where I post, this is where we do all the Quran stuff in this group, the Nahw, the Sarf, and the explanation as well. So yeah, you can join and you can invite others as well if you want, no problem. Okay. Any other questions, clarifications, corrections? I welcome everything. If not, I know it's overboard, we can stop there. So سبحانك اللهم
جزاك الله
بحمدك
خير أستاذة.
وإياكم بخير. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'll see you guys next week.